Hello and welcome everybody to a vlog segment. First vlog of the year. And it's on Nintendo Switch. Basically the first big important news piece of the year that isn't very bad news. It doesn't look like it's going to be that great a year already. But anyway, on to some good news. Last night, at time of recording, it's about 7 in the morning. So, yeah, last night at my time zone, which was I honestly think it's a really stupid idea, 11 p.m. at night in my time zone, I might add, did a giant press conference about Nintendo Switch. We learned more about the tech, we learned more stuff about games that are coming out. We learned a bunch of games that are coming out. We learned some other stuff here and there, and we got a release date, price, and some spec stuff. So, first important bit. I know you've probably already heard this because it's been reported literally all night. The Nintendo Switch will be coming out March 3rd this year. Now, I already knew it was going to be March, but this is really early. Like, it's less than 2 months away. Like, about a month and a quarter and 3 quarters away from release, which is pretty big news in itself. It's probably the biggest news about release since Sega, which was still a dumb point on their favor, releasing the console on the day that everyone's not at home to buy the console. The Sega Genesis, back when they released it on E3. This is still the biggest news since that. Then they're releasing it right like a little bit before E3 so that they can still have a bunch of reveal stuff for E3, I'm guessing. Because it comes out in March, April and May for the stuff to sell down. People will like buy some units, let them produce a few more units because I'm pretty sure it's gonna sell out at first. Like that first release day is gonna be like how the Wii U was at first, how it's gonna sell out. So they're getting it off early in the year, and then by the time E3 starts, they'll probably have enough units to be like, okay, let's show some really cool stuff. Because this is pretty much just a tease. This whole press conference was just pretty much tell everybody what Switch will have on it, and to tease what it will have on it in the future. Like a lot of the stuff that they announced for it this at the conference was stuff that was gonna come out sometime this year or early next year. And when they gave a date or they gave a time zone or what I mean. Another thing is the price. It'll be a pretty reasonable $300 to $29.99. It's not like I heard some rumors flying around. It was supposed to be $250. I kind of thought that was unrealistic. I kind of from the start believed okay, it's gonna be $300, like $200 or more. Though I'm happy that was on the low end of things. That's pretty. $300 is a decent price for a new console. I think the PS4 is still like new versions of the PS4 are like what 350. Xbox One's around 350 or so. So it's a decent price is what I'm just trying to say. They're either 350 or $300 if I'm remembering right. But yeah, that's a decent price for a console. Uh, and you got sales that are gonna come around, especially if you go towards the winter time. You're definitely gonna get those Nintendo Switch sales. It's first release year. They're gonna probably do a minor sale, or at least give you a bonus game with it. Speaking of that, that was the big takeaway from this conference. Games. They announced a lot of games. Not super a lot, but still a decent number. So, first off, what I'm most excited for? Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2 is a thing, and I am so happy it is. It has a lot of, like, from the trailer that we got from it alone, a lot of stuff looks new and interesting. First off, there's a new weapon, looks like dual pistols, which means there could be more new weapon classes. There's new customization options instead of just Inkling boys having their hair tied back, Inkling girls having a long tentacles. You can kind of change it, like we saw, like them having multiple tentacles on their head, shorter tentacles, stuff like that, and again more customization options. Being there might be a salon style thing in there, which is only slightly confusing. They got looks like a new hub world, looks like new maps. Again, this is all really cool stuff, and I honestly can't wait. And it's coming out this year too, sometime in the summer. Again, they didn't give a release date, but they did give a time frame. I get it. I get when they're releasing it. They don't. It's close enough to the launch window to still be get the fuel going for the system to sell. Mario Odyssey was also another game that they announced, and I'm really looking forward to this one. I'm getting weird Sonic 06 vibes from it, considering the fact that it's Mario in a sort of somewhat realistic human world. Thankfully, they keep Mario cartoony and Peach and Bowser cartoony. And it's the standard, Bowser can ask Princess Peach, Mario must go save. But in this case, it's like In this case, it's sort of like how you kind of imagine the classic Mario games are, where Mario's trekking through an entire world in order to go save her. And and there's some interesting stuff with Mario's hat. So in this game, Mario's hat is somewhat alive. I don't know to full extent if it's alive or not. And it allows you to kind of toss it out, sort of as a miniature, sort of like a replacement for the boomerang attack, but having a default. And you can also use it as a platform. Yeah, like it's sort of innocuous, and you won't really think about that much. But when you think about the possibilities of platforming you could have by using your own hat being able to use as a platform, that's pretty interesting. Like you only see it for used in one bit in a trailer, just when it's just used to fill a gap. But that's still an interesting thing to see. Uh, in terms of level design, I don't know how much that'll affect it. I'm loving what I'm seeing so far though from Mario Odyssey. Next major game, Arms. Arms is a very tech demo style game. Like, you know what I mean? Like those early games that come out on a system's life cycle that are just really weird and you don't think they would get made any other way except off the system. Now, I'm not going to say that's a bad thing because, again, sometimes those tech demo style games can be pretty interesting. And ARMS, from what I've seen, is a pretty interesting looking game. I mean, it's sort of like a more advanced version of the boxing minigame off Me Sports, only in this case you have Mr. Fantastic Arms. No, let's rephrase that. It's more like you have Miss Marvel's arms, because have the super enlarged fist, and your fist can stretch out to punch people. And you get see some crazy arm designs, like guy with giant cannons on his arms, or guy with guy with buzzsaws on his arms, and girl and a robot that to somehow shoot out multiple arms. It's a very interesting looking game. I'm sold on it by the aesthetic alone, because I do like the aesthetic the game has, but I want to see more of it being played, live, like live tech feeds. I don't know if this launch title or not. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure about that though. The other announcements: a new Shin Megami Tensei game. The one that this is Shin Megami Tensei 5, or the spin-off. I know it's not a Persona game because they focused on the demons. And when they do a Persona game, the reveal trailers are a bit, not focused on demons. But to focus on demons, it's gonna be Shin Megami Tensei. Classic Shin Megami Tensei, where demons and whatnot. But that still doesn't, lower what it could be. It could be anything from a devil summoner to digital devil saga to anything like that. Next up, Fire Emblem Warriors. I am super excited for this game. I'm gonna admit I do like the Dynasty Warriors style games, but not Dynasty Warriors themselves. Like I like Hyrule Warriors, I like Gundam Warriors, I like Pirate Warriors, One Piece Pirate Warriors, but I don't like Dynasty Warriors themselves. I think it has to do with the aesthetic of Dynasty Warriors. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's just that by you give me the option, I'm gonna go with the ones with the more creative powers and whatnot. But this is kind of funny because when I first heard of Hyrule Warriors, my first thought was, wait, so they're using Zelda and not Fire Emblem? That's kind of weird. And here they are doing Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm like, about time. Because, it's pretty simple. I mean, you already have people with specific weapons, crazy abilities. You can keep the weapon triangle in there for, like, boss encounters. And, what is Fire Emblem but fighting giant wars? In this case, you'll be fighting giant wars with, everyone else is a mook except for the one general who might be a bit of a challenge. Interesting note is in the shot for the trailer, you get to see like signs of some legendary weapons in the franchise. Like Falcon, Ryoma's sword, Xander's sword. Like it's all swords, so nothing you didn't see anything like Leo's book, but you saw Fates represented. You saw I mean Awakening represented. I believe we saw Roy's sword in there, so I forget what game he was, so he might be represented. I don't think they're gonna leave like any mainline Fire Emblem game out. This is pretty much gonna be sort of like how Hyrule Warriors was, where they get at least one person to represent that era of the franchise. Hopefully, they get more than one because everyone has their favorite Fire Emblem characters, and again, especially since Awakening took off, there's gonna be a lot of I want them or them in the game. I will but you know what? I'm going to look forward to every character reveal trailer like I looked forward to every character reveal trailer for Hyrule Warriors. And I'm looking forward to this game. Uh, Next up, the games I'm excited about. They didn't really announce it, but they said they're doing something with Travis Touchdown. Now, that could literally mean anything from him making a cameo in a game to a No More Heroes 3. Honestly speaking, I would love a No More Heroes 3, even though thematically it wouldn't make that much sense when you consider how No More Heroes 2 ended off. But it would still be fun to see, like maybe Travis acts like a mentor to a new guy rising up the assassin ranks. I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see Travis touchdown again, especially considering the fact he hasn't really shown up in anything outside of ports of No More Heroes. Travis for Smash Brothers. No word on Smash Brothers Switch if it's gonna be an upscale of Smash Wii U or a new version. No word on that yet. Speaking of upscale ports, we have Mario Kart 8 has an upscale port for the Switch, and yeah, it is pretty much an upscale port with a better. Well, for the trailer, looks like a better battle mode and new characters and new courses added. Big focus of it was the fact that you could play as the Inkling Child, as a new playable racer, which I'm down with that. I like the Inkling character design, and honestly want them in more games because they have good character designs. And interesting note is when you do the jump, if you play Mario Kart 8, you have the jump thing where you get to the peak and you can jump to get further points or further speed. The Inklings, when they do their jump, they transform to their squid forms, which is I think is a pretty cool nod. I do want to see what kind of level they have in store for a they're definitely going to be an Inkopolis course, or at least something representative for Splatoon, and I kind of want to see what that course is now. uh, let's see other announcements. Uh, they announced another minigame collection, but Nintendo, they always release a new minigame collection when they make their new consoles. Like we had Mii Sports Resort on Wii U. We had I don't even remember Nintendo Land for the Wii. I mean, it was a Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort for the Wii, and then Nintendo Land for the Wii U, and now we have a Switch 2-on-1. Uh, I'm not the biggest fan of Nintendo minigame collections. I liked Mii Sports Resort because it was kind of fun, but I didn't really like Nintendo Land too much. So I'm not super excited for that one. And Square released, at least they announced, I can't remember a title for it, but it's an interesting looking game that's kind of reminding, like, I heard Jay Wood say it gave him Brave for Default feels, and I understand, I get similar feels from looking at it, but at the same time, I'm like, and this is more like an upscale, the Final Fantasy, like old school Final Fantasy feel to me. Uh, Other things, got Skyrim, Wii U. They announced a FIFA game Skyrim Switch got a FIFA Switch game coming out, and big concept stuff was Xenoblade 2. I'm generally looking forward to that one, at least seeing where that goes. So far, it looks interesting. It's interesting, but love to see more of it. But just concept stuff right now, like got the reveal trailer going. So, nah. Now, aside from a few more tech stuff, that's about it on game reveals. Speaking of tech stuff, Nintendo has announced that they're going to have a online service now. So basically, they've joined the ranks of Microsoft and PlayStation. In fact, now you'll have to pay to play online, and whatever makes the service better. That That's a pain in the butt for me personally because I'm not that big of an online player. But at the same time, I like games like Splatoon. I occasionally like go on Smash online. So that's kind of a pain in the butt because I like those games, and they'll probably be like one of the only 2 or 3 games I play online. And it depends on how much the price point is for it, because Nintendo generally makes decent enough price points for me where it's not like $20 a month or something like that. I may consider getting it, but I'm still on it all. They also announced not in their feature, but the basically the battery life for the Switch tablet part when it's undocked. So basically, the battery life will be anywhere between 2.5 hours to 6.5 hours, and it all depends on like how intensive the game that you're playing is. And I honestly believe that that's a pretty decent battery lifespan. Like if you're doing something hyper intensive, then you have to drain your battery like a brick. But if you're doing something generally nominal, you can have a much longer experience. Again, it's all dependent on the game that you're playing with it. Uh, but they did also say that it'll have a more standard charger, so you won't have to carry around a special charger to charge it, and you'll be able to charge it pretty easily, and you can continue and you can play it while charging too. So, that's pretty good info, pretty good news to have in my personal opinion. At least it'll make the issue with chargers a lot easier to deal with. Other news is we have. I think that's about it on the major news, except for one thing. Their big showstopper, was the release date for Breath of the Wild. That will be coming out as a launch title. Like, yeah, it's coming out on the Wii U as well, but honestly, from what I've seen, it kind of chugs a bit on the Wii U. But on the Switch, it plays a bit more smoothly, so you take what you get. But they're also going to do something they haven't done before and have a collector's edition of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, it'll come with a Sheikah Slate holder, which is basically like a tablet case that looks like a Sheikah Slate. It'll come with the music disc. It'll come with a map of Hyrule and something else, and of course the game itself. I forgot. Oh, a coin. Then the thing is, this was a coin that they handed out at E3 during when they had the first demos, playable demos for Breath of the Wild. So if you like everyone, if you're a normal person who could get into E3, this is your chance to get some E3 swag that was left over. And then they have a more the standard tiers of collector's editions. You got the basic collector's edition, and you have the super collector's edition. Super collector's edition, well, it's not what it's called, but it comes with the figure, or at least a model of the Master Sword base of the Master Sword for this game. No price points for how much the collector's editions cost, but this is Nintendo's first time doing collector's editions, and it's pretty surprising to see. Maybe we'll have a collector's edition for the next version of Pokemon to come out, and I'll be behind that all the way. uh, so that's all the Switch news that I took out of the conference. Personal opinions, I'm excited for Nintendo Switch. I'm generally looking forward to the games that it can have come out. Some of the games they've announced or have planned I'm generally into, and especially since Scalebound got canceled, I have to look forward to something to come out this year outside of Persona 5. Splatoon 2 looks great. Mario Odyssey looks great. We're still gonna get our basic upscaled ports. Mario Kart 8, which is an upscale port, looks good. It looks really good for an upscale port. You got a new character, got obviously better battle mode, which is something that was a point of contention for Mario Kart 8, and you got a potential new course. They haven't confirmed an Inkopolis course, but there's going to be an Inkopolis course. Uh, they also said you got basically you got to have those ports that come out like Skyrim Switch, and you got Dragon Quest Warrior Switch coming out. Oh, yeah, they also announced that 2 new Dragon Quest games are coming to the West, which is really good. Well, at least on the Switch. They also said that region locking would be less of a thing, so I'm guessing they're going to handle it like how the like how the PlayStation, and Xbox One handle it, in the fact that region locking is a case by case basis depending on the game company themselves. For those of you who don't know, most games on the PS4 are not region locked, but certain games are region locked, and it's mainly because server stuff. I'm not exactly sure. Like I know Persona 4 Arena on PS3 is region locked because no, I'm guessing server stuff and location crap. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah. Again, I'm looking forward to the Switch. The stuff they have lined up for look pretty good, and looks like it's gonna have a decent year. I would like, a few more games to be out around the exact launch date, except Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild will have to hold you over for about a few months till the summertime hits, and like Splatoon 2 and whatnot comes out. And around then E3, so they're probably holding back a few announcements for E3 because it's like in general, it's pretty close. So you got a few more months till it happens. After a big console comes out, you have a few more months before the big gaming thing comes out. Speaking of which, I kind of do want to see the Nintendo Direct that they do for E3, especially with the Switch out. It's going to be a pretty fun one, I imagine. So yeah, that's all the Switch stuff. I'm excited. Looks like it'll be a fun console, and I'm excited about the possibilities. If only now we just have to hope the developers live up to them. Now, let me ask you: are you excited about the Switch? What games did you like from the review trailer? What did you take away from it all? And I'm sorry I had to say this, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe because YouTube forces me to say that. Like literally, there's a YouTube taser that's forcing me to say that right now if I don't say those words. So, till next time, everybody.